Hollywood, California, Dominique Revue Productions brings you classic entertainment in a modern world in an vintage manner with the cast of keeping golden age of radio alive and a day in the life of Hollywood 1930s. With the voices of Dominique Breckenridge as Teddy Gray, Jasmine Lofton as Rachel Ellis Hagen, Tamara Solomon as Pike Anderson, Tony Ballard as Mason Davis. Just when you thought we've done it all, we haven't. Because we done it again.
The cast gathers around the studio to bring you an original story written by Dominique Breckenridge, entitled Front Page News, portrayed by our A Day in the Life of cast. Characters: Rachel Ellis Hagen as Samantha Allison, and myself, Mason Davis, as Harvey Henley, Pike Anderson as Roberta Miller, and Betty Gray as Sadie Roxon. In the 1930s, there were two types of businesses: crime and newspaper. Everything else was either irrelevant or in between, the news columns. Such we find Samantha, rather Sam, in tonight's broadcast. She's a rising star in the newspaper racket, but she'll be an overnight sensation if she can make the front page story every reporter wants to nab. You don't believe me? Take a look. Foster, get Sam in here. And McKinley, have you got that morning edition ready for me yet? And I don't want to hear that the day is not even over. What? Look, what I always say to you. Have tomorrow's news today. McKinley, can you get Mark on the line for me? All right. Foster, where's Sam?
Here I am, Mr. Henley. Here I am. I'm sorry.
Step on in here, kid.
Yes, sir.
McKinley showed me that piece you were working on behind my back.
He did what?
Yeah, he found it on your desk.
And more like he stole it. That was on my personal desk. How dare he?
Pipe down, kid. If it's one thing I can't stand, it's a loud dame. Now listen, Sam. I heard about I read the story you were working on about the robbery downtown, right? It's what was it? Yeah, it was one kid murdered and the fleeing gang. That was the Maxwell gang, right? It's good. Now, what McKinley thought he was using against you, it worked against him. I'm putting you on the case. Full front page story, first thing tomorrow morning.
Are you sure about that?
Look, kid, I don't have time to waste words on things that I don't mean. I run a newspaper here. You gotta work quick and you gotta work smart. Do you want the story or not?
No. I do. I want it. I just didn't think you like women reporters.
Okay, look, Sam, I run a newspaper, plain and simple. Alright, but the things that go in it are never plain or simple. I've seen guys go out on a hot story and never to be seen again. When you're covering something hot, the guy who's shoveling the coal, he always finds who to put in the steam engine. Now, I don't believe that a newspaper reporter is a man or a woman. A newspaper reporter is a newspaper reporter. Well, the good ones are anyway. Now, are you going to sit here and listen to me bust off at the chops all day, or are you going to go out and get me a story?
No, sir. I'm going to go take care of it, Mr. Henley.
Could you please can all the yes sirs and no sirs and save that for the columnists? If you're going to make it around here, you save that for them.
I'm sorry, sir. It's just... yes, Harvey.
All right, now, you got till midnight tonight.
Yes, Harv, yes.
Well, Samantha, it looks like you got yourself in a real job. Here comes McKinley. Going in to see Harv about the Maxwell story, McKinley? Better luck next time. Gave the story to me.
What?
Yeah, thanks. The story you stole off of my desk was the perfect resume. So long, chump.
This wasn't going to be easy. I had the frame for my story, sure, but where to get the dress to fit it, that was the problem. There were a lot of people to talk to, but only a few that would talk. Getting mixed up in a murder case was tricky business, even when a kid was involved. On this side, nobody saw nothing. Nobody said nothing. He was a good kid, sure, but lay my neck on the line? No thank you. If only I could talk to Sadie Roxon. She'd tied the whole case together for me. She was Max's mall at the time, and I'd need a shovel and some boots to dig her up, though. Better try and talk to Roberta Miller. She's the only witness nobody can get to. Cab driver, turn around. Take me to Montgomery Street, Lower East Side.
Yes?
Roberta,
Why?
I'm Samantha Allison.
I don't know a Samantha Allison.
But you do know Wallace Brewster. Don't close the door, Miss Miller.
I didn't say I was Roberta.
Didn't you? You did say I before you tried to close the door on my face. Listen, Miss Miller, I could have lied to you about who I was, but what difference would that make? You don't know who I am, or who I work for anyway. But if I were here to do you any harm, do you think I'd be standing here this long? No. If I were here to do you harm, it would have been done already. You know the kind of person Max Wells is. You know what kind he has working for him, don't you? Now, won't you let me in?
Come in.
Thanks, Roberta. Thanks.
Who are you with? Police department?
News reporter.
Oh no, this is a bad idea.
Calm down, Roberta.
I don't want my face plastered across the front page.
It won't be.
Every time you look around, a picture is taken, and next, they die.
Roberta, I won't let that happen to you.
No? How can you be so sure?
Because I'm not gonna let it.
I don't know you. How can I?
You're just gonna have to trust me.
Trust you? You work for the newspaper and you want me to trust you. I wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for some newspaper reporter spreading my name across the front page. Cases, only surviving witness.
But I don't believe you are. I don't believe you are. With your help, your name won't even have to be mentioned in the newspaper. With your help, no one would have to know about you or what you know. With your help, you can make this go away and no one would even know your name.
Oh, so the newspaper has gotten into bumping people off too?
No, Roberta, not us. That's not our racket. We lay people to rest with our words, but if the words don't target you, you have nothing to worry about. And where you're concerned, I'm gonna make sure they don't. Now, on the night of the robbery, you said you heard the voices of a man and a woman, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're sure the voice of the female was Sadie Roxon, right?
Sure, I'm sure. I seen her act down at the Belvedere just that night. I had to go see my brother. He's a waiter there. And I stuck around in the back by the door to wait for him. I heard her talking before, on and off stage.
And this fella you said you heard her talking to, you heard the name Wallace Brewster?
Yes.
Did you get a good look at him?
Sure I did.
Is this the man you saw?
No.
But you said you saw Wallace Brewster.
Yes, that's what he called himself.
And this isn't the man you saw?
No, the man I saw was physically fit. Like he could take out a gang of 20 with room for more. It was a little dark, but I still saw him pretty good. And even in the dark, you could tell he had looks to match. I saw him when he lifted his gun to point it at Sadie Roxon. And then a little boy ran towards her. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Before I could think clearly, I just turned my head and looked away. I was too frightened.
And when you turned around, you saw this boy lying on the floor?
Right.
Did you see this man carrying the other body away?
What other body?
Sadie Roxon, of course, when Wallace Brewster or the man shot them. He killed both the kid and Sadie. But only the kid's body was found when the police got there. Wallace must have carried Sadie away someplace to get rid of the body.
Get rid of the body? How can he get rid of the body? She wasn't dead.
It was like starting all over again. But this time, I had a better vehicle to drive with no gas to put in it. For all everybody knew, Sadie Roxy was lying in a ditch somewhere or at the bottom of the river someplace. But alive? We didn't account for that. Or maybe we did. Maybe all along we all knew Sadie wasn't dead. Not really. That's why getting a hold of Roberta Miller was so important. She must have moved more times than a street rat. Going from Upper East Side to Lower East Side, she almost have to. Most Upper East Siders would rather degrade themselves than step foot inside a Lower East Side apartment, let alone taking up residence. I wouldn't have found Roberta myself if it wasn't for McKinley. I listened to him ramble on to the boys about some two-bit information he milked out of some juice head on the corner in front of LaGuardi's. He even went to laugh at the poor soul to think he knew so much. But I checked on the story, and that old juice head did know so much. First rule of becoming a reporter: never undermine the information of a juice or a junk. Sometimes alcohol speaks loud and clear. So this is where the old girl is laid up. Right out in the open. Why not? John Dillinger 101. Good thing I've got my best cigarette holder. It even has her name in lights. Picture beside the marquee: Lucille River Red. Seems the name's not the only thing Sadie's changed. That coal miner black went to fire engine red. Wait for me, Angelo. If I'm over 20 minutes, check the pavement. Swinky place like this, I might have been pushed out the 12th floor of balance.
Name, please.
You got a good one? Smith. I'm with the Smith party.
Oh, okay. Smith party? Antonio, Smith party?
No, it's okay. I see them. I can walk myself.
Well.
Phew. Barely got through that one, Samantha. If it weren't for a name like Smith, people wouldn't get anywhere. It may do registration books good, but it leads the spouse nowhere. Upstairs to find Sadie's breast. What book have I? No one is watching the stairs.
Madame Melissa, not the Marian kind who left us behind the Marquis of Manchester.
No wonder, with showgirls so underdressed and overexposed. Even the bouncer rolls to the edge of the stage. I guess the diamond-cut wardrobe makes it sophisticated, and the elite crowd makes it legitimate. Alright, Sam. Here you go. What? No bodyguard to cover the infamous Mrs. Roxon?
I'm not Miss Roxon. I don't need a bodyguard, and I can take care of myself.
I don't doubt that, the way you took care of Wallace Brewster.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of Sadie Roxon, and I don't know a Wallace Brewster.
Did I say Sadie?
You don't have to. I read the papers, too.
Did you read about the kid that was murdered in the street, and the missing body, and the runaway suspect?
Yeah. Tough break.
I've heard the kid may have been related to Sadie. A brother, nephew, a child, maybe.
Get out of here. You know what? I don't even remember giving you permission to even be in here.
But you didn't kick me out when you first saw me walk in, just the same. Interested in what I have to say, maybe? I'm gonna take the chance that you are. From what my newspaper reads, it seems like Sadie Roxon was once married to Maxwell. And they had a son. Before Sadie and Max were married, he seemed like an alright guy. His world fascinated her, and she was rather drawn to it. She was even intrigued by it, until Max seemed to be moving up in the world. And not by promotion. Seems he read too many of those ancient Egypt books. How she got out, she never knew. But Max tracked every corner to find her. Anywhere Sadie went, Max was sure to follow. He even found the bank she was working and arranged arranged an elaborate plan to knock it off. Not only would he be taking the bank and city for everything it had, he'd also be taking his wife. Even if that meant sacrificing their own son. The kid should have been around 8 years old by now?
7.
7.
Does your paper tell you where Wallace Brewster is?
No, we figured Maxwell's knocked him off and did it with the body, much like we thought he did with you.
And Max?
Probably Chicago, California somewhere, but my guess is somewhere in the city just like you. Best place to hide is in plain sight. And nobody knows the city as well as Maxwell's does.
Someone else does.
Who?
Sadie Roxon.
What do you mean, Sadie?
Find Sadie. Find the truth. Wallace Brewster, just a stand-up guy who took a fall for the job.
That's already common knowledge. What do you mean, Sadie Roxon?
Max Wells. He didn't know the city as good as Sadie Roxon. You'll find him in the sewer lines below the city streets, inside the wall of the tunnel.
Well, that did it. Sadie Roxon was the one who shot the gun that night. She shot Maxwell down at the site of shooting down her son. Right in front of her eyes. He'd do anything to get her back. Even that. The conversation overheard by Roberta Miller was Max using Wallace's name for identifying purposes. Use a name often enough and a witness in the shadows may identify you as such. Poor Wallace just got mixed up with the wrong crowd. It's usually the stand-up ones that become the fall guys. Everyone was looking for Max in every underground playground from east to west coast. And all the time, he was in the underground pad of dried cement that Sadie covered him up in, down in the city's tunnels. What an underground construction sign, a pair of night shift overall, one posed drunk worker, and what one small but mighty woman can carry off under pressure is enough to put in the funny papers. But I'm a news reporter, not a comic strip cartoon artist. This is just too wild of a story for me to make up. Is Sadie Roxon innocent or guilty? You can decide that for yourselves. Next time you want somebody caught, found, or recovered, don't call the police department. Just come by Samantha Allison's desk. McKinley will show you where I am. He's good at that. Good night, all.
And Hannah Live Love wants to thank you for tuning into our broadcast. And Dominique Revue wants to remind you to subscribe to our Dominique Revue YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us at Dominique Revue on Twitter, and share us with others.
We'd like to thank our cast of characters who played the roles tonight in our original story written by Dominique Breckenridge. And the voices were provided by Jasmine Lofton as Rachel Ellis Hagen, and Samantha Allison, Tamara Solomon as Pike Anderson, and Roberta Miller. And you know who, Tony Ballard as Mason Davis, and Harvey Hemley, and The Day in the Life of creator and producer Dominique Breckenridge as Betty Gray, and Sadie Roxon, reminding you that all of the women's wardrobe worn in tonight's broadcast were provided by her line, Dominique Private Collection.
This has been a Dominique Revue production. Good night, everybody!